Hello, everyone. Welcome back. In Baltimore, there's a constant rhythmic sound at busy intersections, the swish of water and the scrape of rubber on glass. It's the sound of the city's informal economy, known as the Squeegee workers, and for decades, that informal economy has been a source of tension, debate, and ultimately, tragedy. This isn't just about clean windshields, it's about public space, poverty, and community friction. On a summer evening in 2022, these issues converged into a fatal confrontation that brought the city to a standstill. With that being said, let's get right into it. The victim was a 48-year-old named Timothy Reynolds. He was a software engineer and a father whose life was tragically cut short. The shooter was a 14-year-old boy. The incident shocked the city and put a spotlight on one of its most persistent urban challenges.
This is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Kai Jackson. Our top story tonight, chaos at the Inner Harbor.
That's right. A squeegee worker shoots and kills a man after police say the man who was shot swung a bat at a group of them this afternoon after a confrontation.
Can't even stand here and not feel like you might get shot by errant gunfire.
Keith Daniels has been on the scene of that shooting since news of the deadly incident broke this afternoon.
And he joins us now live with the very latest on what happened down there today. Keith?
All right, you guys are at the Mary, you're at the Blown.
A very complex situation where someone took matters into his own hands, the victim. And now tonight, the search for the shooter. At the corner of Light and Conway Streets, a confrontation between a driver and squeegee workers turns deadly.
Multiple rounds that were fired.
A bloody bat on the block, part of the evidence. Some neighbors nearby, stunned by what happened, but not surprised.
Clearly, if what happened and there was someone who was frustrated and got out with their baseball bat, there are a lot of people who want to do that because they're frustrated.
Police say it happened in the light of day at about 4:30. Investigators say the driver, a 48-year-old man, was going through the intersection when there was a heated exchange with squeegee workers. The driver parked his car, then
exited his vehicle with a baseball bat, walked back over to where the squeegee workers were. The information that we have right now is that he swung the bat at one or more of those squeegee workers. In return, one of the squeegee workers pulled out a gun and fired, striking this male victim.
Police found the victim with several gunshot wounds. The squeegee workers scattered, got away.
Our detectives are combing through this neighborhood looking for cameras and are going through some video now and are looking for more cameras with more video.
As police investigate,
Yeah, I got it, bro.
neighbors deliberate over what's been a continuous nuisance for some residents, now turned deadly.
I wish there was something they could do about the squeegee boys. The ones right along here seem to be more aggressive than the ones we've seen in other parts of the city.
People are feeling like they need to come down here and they need to protect themselves when they're trying to come through a major metropolitan area. So it's scary and frustrating.
Well, there are reports that State Senator Antonio Hayes also had a confrontation with a squeegee worker here at this location. I'm told he filed a police report. Now, I texted him tonight. For now, he's not commenting. Meanwhile, police say they did arrest a man on gun charges also here earlier today at this intersection. And now the search for someone who shot and killed a driver. Well, live in downtown Baltimore, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
The suspect, later identified as Tavon Scott, was arrested 7 days after the shooting on July 14th, 2022.
And to WMER2 News at 6. Thanks for watching and streaming us tonight. I'm Kelly Swoop.
And I'm Jamie Costello. Just when you thought this story couldn't get worse, it does. A 15-year-old arrested for a murder right near the Inner Harbor.
That teen is accused of shooting and killing Timothy Reynolds after he got into an altercation with a squeegee worker at the intersection of Light and Conway Streets 1 week ago today. WMER2 News' Brittany Verner live where it all happened, and she's bringing us reaction tonight from the community about this arrest. Brittany, what are people saying?
Kelly, well, many people have expressed mixed emotions about that arrest and about what happened, empathizing for the family and for that teen now facing murder charges. Last Thursday, just after 4:30, we told you when police responded to Light Street in Conway when Timothy Reynolds was shot down after swinging a bat at a squeegee worker.
Everyone's talking about down here.
Today, police arrested a 15-year-old at a home in Essex who they believe was the shooter. Caitlin Reagan, who lives in Locust Point, says she's thrilled about the arrest, but wants to see a solution to squeegee workers.
Very terrible incident altogether. And again, I just don't understand what the squeegee kids bring as, something for our city.
Some other neighbors we spoke with witnessed the attack that day.
We were down here that day, like the guy walked across 8 lanes with a bat in his hand to attack a young man.
Octavia Brown describes the entire incident as chaotic and wishes for both parties things could have played out differently.
You were already in your car. You could have just kept going.
That 15-year-old now being charged as an adult with first-degree murder. Mayor Brandon Scott and Commissioner Michael Harrison both applauding detectives and the community for their work in this investigation.
It really is a total community effort that allowed the police department to go forward and make this arrest this fast.
All right, Brittany, this case, very, very highly visible, very emotionally charged. Any additional information coming out of those charging documents? Sometimes they tell us maybe how he was shot or how he was killed.
Yeah, Kelly, well, those charging documents actually have not been released as of yet. However, what we do know is Commissioner Michael Harrison said earlier today that teen who was arrested was 14 years old 1 week ago today when that happened. He has since turned 15. Right now, still a lot of unanswered questions like where that gun came from and if anyone else will be facing charges as a result of what happened here. Reporting live, Brittany Werner, WMAR 2 News.
All right, Brittany, thank you.
The narrative that unfolded in court was a complex and tragic sequence of events. Reynolds, frustrated with the workers, parked his car, exited his vehicle, and swung a baseball bat at the group. It was a blatantly dangerous escalation.
We want to bring in reporter Justin Fenton right now from our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. And Justin, this could be important. I understand you have received some dash cam footage that shows those final moments of this deadly encounter. Can you describe to us what you've seen?
Right, this video doesn't show the entire encounter, but it captures those crucial final moments. It shows Timothy Reynolds walking away from the squeegee workers. He has a bat raised in his hand. He disappears behind a car, and the workers sort of converge on him. They're then seen running away as he runs at them with the bat raised. He's then struck in the head with what police have said is a rock. He appears to be disoriented. A shot is fired. He starts to go down, and there are 4 more shots fired.
We've just shown our viewers, I think, the video that you're describing to us. Is there anything that you've seen in that video that you think makes a difference in people's perception of what happened?
I think people are going to see this different ways based on, I think people are having very strong feelings about this case. I think some people are seeing this and thinking that Mr. Reynolds was walking away and that the shooting was unnecessary. Other people see a grown man with a bat, running towards children. I think that the judge is, going to have to consider all this evidence about whether this case is going to be in adult court or juvenile court, and that's what the purpose of tomorrow's hearing is.
And you're the only ones who had this video, right? So we shouldn't even assume that the judge has seen this video.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the judge is going to see the video. The victim's family released a prosecutor's filing that includes still images from a different camera. The hearing is going to be closed tomorrow. We actually filed a motion to try to get into it. We were denied that. So what happens in that courtroom, we're going to have to find out from the people who are inside of there. But it is video that captures the shooting itself and is important evidence to consider.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us, Justin Fenton, from our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Thank you.
The defense argued the teen acted in self-defense. They claimed he felt threatened, but the prosecution saw something else. They argued that once Reynolds turned to walk away, the threat had passed. The jury had a difficult choice to make. They acquitted the teen of murder charges, but found him guilty of voluntary manslaughter and handgun charges, which only served as a middle ground that satisfied few.
All right, the verdicts and a guilty verdict in the trial of a teen accused of killing a man near the Inner Harbor last year. A jury found 16-year-old Tavon Scott guilty of voluntary manslaughter in the death of Timothy Reynolds. WMAR 2 News' Brittany Werner has been following the trial. She's here now to break down those charges for us, along with what's next.
Sentencing will likely be delayed, but that 16-year-old was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and 2 out of the 3 gun charges he was facing. Tension and tears filled the courtroom leading up to the moment the verdict was read for 16-year-old Tavon Scott, found guilty of killing Timothy Reynolds.
Voluntary manslaughter, which is what they found him guilty of, is where you intentionally kill someone, but there's some justification, mitigation, or excuse.
It's the main charge that teen was found guilty of, in addition to 2 gun charges, the use of a firearm in a crime of violence, and possession of a firearm under the age of 21. This comes after an altercation between Reynolds and a group of teens squeegeeing turned deadly last July at the corner of Light and Conway Street.
It does look like this was the consensus verdict of a jury that brought a lot of different perspectives. There are no winners in cases like this.
The maximum penalty for all charges combined is upwards of 30 years, an outcome families on both sides were disappointed in.
There's disappointment because they were hoping for an acquittal across the board. Well, this is clearly a heart-wrenching case on both sides, and our condolences go out to the Reynolds family.
And that brings a small measure of closure and justice to this family, which is what they've always wanted. Here he has been held accountable in adult court for the crime that he committed.
However, defense attorneys say their fight isn't over at the time of sentencing. Since the teen has no criminal history, they are going to argue that the case should be moved to juvenile court, which is what they initially wanted to begin with.
It is a good case to transfer to juvenile court because of his background, because this matter was brought to him. He didn't go looking for trouble, it was brought to him.
That 16-year-old has 10 days to request a retrial, which the defense counsel says they are already planning to do, and ask that it be moved to juvenile courts. Brittany Werner, WMAR 2 News.
In October 2023, the verdict came down 15 years in prison, a future loss for both the victim and the young man now behind bars.
The squeegee worker convicted of killing Timothy Reynolds on Light Street in 2022 was sentenced this afternoon.
Tavon Scott getting 15 years in prison plus 5 years on probation. WMAR 2 News' Jeff Morgan was in the courtroom as the families of both Scott and Reynolds heard the sentencing.
There was a tense feeling in the courtroom as the defense and prosecution argued back and forth about the length of time Tavon Scott should be in prison for the killing of Timothy Reynolds. The defense's motion to move the case to juvenile court was denied. Then the judge moved to victim impact statements. Reynolds' wife, daughter, mother, sister, and best friend spoke about the difficulties of life after his death, sharing that his kids continue to struggle with the events of that July day. Following the Reynolds family, the defense brought up several people pleading for a lighter sentence of Scott. His grandmother spoke, then a letter from his mother, then a mentor, along with 2 community members, saying that Scott has already started to show improvement while in jail. Scott spoke to the courtroom, saying he's sorry to his family and the Reynolds, saying he wished this didn't happen and that he could have a normal life. Ultimately, the judge gave Scott 15 years with another 5 of probation.
He will return to the community one day. He will be a much different person. He's going in as a boy, but he will come out as a man.
The defense says they will appeal, feeling the case should have gone to juvenile court. State's Attorney Ivan Bates was pleased with Scott being charged as an adult, saying that's where he can get the best rehabilitative services.
The juvenile system isn't equipped to deal with violent juvenile offenders, unfortunately. The adult system is, and the adult system is not throwing them away.
The Reynolds family stayed in the courthouse for nearly an hour, then walked out in unison as their spokesperson, Tharu Vignaraja, spoke to reporters.
The judge imposed a sentence over twice what the maximum for the guidelines was. And that brings a measure of comfort to this family.
Throughout the process, several things were made clear to those in attendance. The court was compelled to give Scott adequate rehabilitative services, and there were no winners in this sentencing. In Baltimore, Jeff Morgan, WMAR 2 News.
The sentence ignited calls for reform and fresh appeals from the defense. The tragedy forced Baltimore to move past debate and into action. The city created the Squeegee Collaborative, leading to new policies banning squeegeeing at specific major intersections and increasing support services for the workers themselves.
The strategy consists of 18 recommendations designed to eliminate the activity.
The initiatives will cost around $5 million and will go into effect January 10th. Former Squeegee worker Victoria Thompson left that lifestyle. She became a member of the Mayor's Squeegee Collaborative. She went back to high school and even started her own business.
I'm here to tell you that we are not animals. We are human. We need your help. We squeegee because we don't have the money for the basic things like clothing and food. We want a better life.
She helped shape recommendations the 11 News I-Team reported exclusively last week, designed to eliminate the activity. The mayor Thursday rolled out details of the strategy.
This plan will not immediately stop squeegee work, but it will go further and do more than ever has been done. The Baltimore I and so many of us envision is a Baltimore where no one has to be in the street intersections asking for money.
The mayor's plan includes an initiative called Learn and Earn. 100 squeegee workers could be paid $250 a month for up to a year not to engage in the activity. But they must enroll in training or go back to school or find transitional employment. It allows for designated zones away from the city's busiest intersections, along with signage. Police cadets will be sent to those corners as monitors. Workers will develop a code of conduct to police themselves. Drivers will be held accountable. Officers will enforce criminal activity, and squeegee workers who don't comply will be cited.
It will be a sequence of warning, warning, then citation.
The strategy establishes a network of services for squeegee workers. Service navigators will be hired. They will connect squeegee workers with job opportunities, create business partnerships. The plan will have an oversight committee. A dashboard will keep the public informed.
And one of the things that they said to us is we don't want to do drugs. We don't want to sell drugs, right? What we want to do is earn. And there are a set of circumstances, in their own words, that prevent them from doing so.
Term limited Governor Hogan says he's not impressed.
That sounds completely absurd and ridiculous to me. We need crackdowns, not handouts.
We were intentional. We were deliberate, and we took the time that we needed, that this city needed to get this right.
The strategy is considered a work in progress, a living document that will undoubtedly change. They want the model to long outlive those who created it. Reporting from downtown, David Collins, WBAL TV 11 News.
The squeegees remain. The problem hasn't disappeared overnight. Regardless, the shooting of Timothy Reynolds serves as a stark reminder that in urban landscapes, ignoring simmering social issues can have fatal consequences. Baltimore learned a hard lesson that day, the cost of inaction. The incident highlights the complex issue of young people turning to squeegeeing for income due to a lack of other opportunities. What systemic changes do you believe are needed to provide better alternatives for disconnected youth in Baltimore and other cities? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Rest in peace, Timothy Reynolds. Thank you all for watching, and as usual, if you're a fan of urban legends, folklore, unsolved mysteries, cold cases, and all things mysterious, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel.